Hello and happy Tuesday evening. If it's Tuesday evening, it must be the Get the Skinny on Beachbody Coaching weekly chat, right?
Yes.
And tonight we have our stuffy edition of the Get the Skinny on Beachbody Coaching weekly chat. This evening we have with us, as usual, Shelly Kraft, Hannah Lyons, Metal Palace, otherwise known as Tom Birkenmeyer, Amethyst, and her friend Wayne. We're pretty excited. This is Wayne's first time on the show, so welcome, Wayne.
Hi, Wayne.
Welcome.
And this evening we're going to be talking about a training that we all invested in. It's Ray Higdon's Health and Wellness Blueprint for multi-level health and wellness marketers. And we're going to be talking about the first third of that training tonight. And if we have time later on, we're going to have a lightning round that has to do with this week's National Wake Up Call. And we haven't talked about the National Wake Up Call until this show, so we'll tell you what that's all about towards the end. So stick with us. All right, so this first segment of Ray's training was really kind of, I kind of characterize it as just sort of laying the groundwork, but he spent a lot of time talking about the difference between prospecting and marketing. Is that the general sense you guys all got?
Yes.
Okay, so who has some insights on that? Everybody take notes. Love to hear what you all thought about that. Yes, Shelly.
I do. Only because for me, and I'm going first selfishly too, because I listened to all of it and I'm not entirely sure where the first third ended, but because you said that, I know what to say. Yay! To me personally, it made me realize that I'm doing a lot more marketing than I am prospecting. Now, the difference between the two is, he explained, marketing is kind of a blanket statement, kind of throwing spaghetti at the wall and trying to see what sticks way of attracting people, where prospecting would be, back in the day it would be cold calling. Now it would be more one-on-one inviting. And that's always been tough for me, and I don't know why. So, hi, Lisa.
Hey, Lisa's in the house.
So I need to work more on my prospecting, because like he said, you can market till the cows come home, but unless you're prospecting, you're not going to really get that traction and move forward. And so that was really like kind of that hammer over the head that I knew I needed to do it, but hearing it again is kind of like, okay, I gotta not stop marketing, but do more prospecting than I am marketing.
Right. Yeah, because he characterizes prospecting as active.
Right.
You're reaching out to an individual, either online, offline, through email, etc. But marketing is passive.
Right.
Yeah.
Kind of throwing it out there like, who's watching, who wants to come in, where prospecting, you're directly talking one-on-one to someone.
Yeah. Right. And you're absolutely right. Marketing is an important component. I mean, the way he characterized that is you're creating a unit of information, a status update, a Facebook Live, a flyer, a YouTube video, a blog post, a podcast. That's all super important and really essential.
But a lot of times, like, think of how many times a day you see somebody's video, you see somebody's whatever, and you're like, oh, I'll get back to that later. Or you watch and be like, oh, I really should reach out to that person. How often do you? Whereas if you're getting a direct invite, you're more likely to respond. Even if you respond no, you're more likely to get a response than just, hi, this is what I'm up to, message me, So.
Right. Okay. So Tom, what did you think of that first part of the training?
I think it's really important. And here's my interpretation of all of that. So marketing is on a one-to-many model, and prospecting is on a one-to-one model. Mm-hmm. So when you're marketing, you're putting out a blog post, a YouTube video, like all those examples that you guys named. And I'll give two examples of my favorites. It's going to be sharing my story or demoing something. Like lately I've been doing how I make Shakeology, and I'll talk to people on Facebook live feeds and I'll engage with them. A lot of fun. I'll drink it and I'll show them my face expression, kind of over exaggerated and animated just because it's fun. And then I also like to do educational stuff. Like when I learned 9 is fine, when you look at the PLU number on grocery items. If it starts with 9, it's organic. If it doesn't, it's not. So I did a little 1-minute video about that. And I put it out there in a one-to-many, hoping that an unnamed individual would see it and be interested to reach out to me to talk to me about their goals or ask about what I'm doing. And that's cool, because even though it's passive, you could have something out there that you made 10 years ago. It's still floating on the internet, and you're still getting leads, people reaching out to you from that thing you put out 10 years ago. Well, over the past 10 years, I have over 22,700 videos that are floating in the internet. So I get people on a regular basis by now reaching out to me. And so I really don't have to prospect anymore. I still get people reaching out to me regularly enough to where I guess I don't need to prospect, but I still do anyway. And then prospect, the cool thing about it is prospecting. The cool thing about that is obviously you're going to sharpen up your people skills. You're going to learn how to address people's concerns that they have. It's going to be more one-to-one. So you're starting the conversation with somebody versus you putting something out there that's attractive to get people to start the conversation with you. And with one-on-one stuff, you're still planting a seed. So somebody might say, no, not right now. And then a year from now, something happens in their life, a change, and they're ready. So they contact me. So likewise, I've got people that I invited 10 years ago that once in a while will come up to me now because I invited them one-on-one, and they're like, hey, something happened. I don't fit into this anymore. I lost my job. I need to make money. And they'll contact me about this thing that I do again. So it can happen either way like that. And both of them has their benefits. And here's the last thing I'll say about it. In my opinion, I think everyone pretty much agrees with this opinion too. When you first get started, it's important to do both. But the quick money for a new person is going to be in prospecting. And marketing, it could take 6 months or a year to gain any traction to see any results. And who's going to stick around that long without a paycheck? So it's really important to do both, because as you're inviting people, prospecting one-on-one, and then they see stuff you're putting out there on social media like, hey, I lost another pound, or the shake is really great, or I messed up, but here's what I learned from my mistake, or whatever you're doing. You're teaching something like 9 is fine. You're putting that stuff out there. These people that you've invited one-on-one, the seed's been planted, they're seeing all this other stuff, and they're more likely to take you seriously, a credible person that's going to be in this for the long haul to support them. So it's really important to do both. And then as the marketing takes off 6 months, a year from now, people are contacting you regularly, you have the option. Now you don't have to prospect as much, but maybe you still want to anyway because you're still gung-ho and you just want to build it as fast as you can, but you just got more options. So it's really important to do both.
And I like what you just added there on the end, because I was going to add that too. If you keep the marketing going while you're prospecting, it keeps you fresh in their face, like not in a bad way, but oh, they contacted me last week and, oh, I see they're doing this now. And it keeps you relevant on their journey so that when they're ready, they know to contact you about it.
Yeah.
Yeah, totally.
Yeah, doing regular content. I never got to a point in the marketing aspect where I'm like, okay, that's enough. I mean, I've got over 2,700 videos. I've got over 10,000 Facebook status updates. And that's only doing 2 or 3 a day or something like that as far as updates, videos. Nowadays, I do those pretty regularly because they're fun and I found my groove. But like today, I did one quickly after my workout. Now I started to feel nauseous, and how ginger helps that. And then I did another one where I met some pretty cool people and I talked about that, a couple of those. So it's easy to keep coming up with content, which is session number 2, and we can talk about that, I guess, in the next one so we don't get sidetracked. But yeah, understanding the difference between prospecting and marketing, I think, is really cool. Really gets your brain going and think creatively. And it's also important to understand they both really need to be done, but down the road, prospecting does become optional.
Okay, awesome. So Hannah, what were your takeaways from the training?
During the first one, because I did complete all 3, but I love to talk to people. I mean, at the checkout at the grocery store, whatever, I'm going to chat people up left and right. I mean, that's me. I talk to people for whatever reason. So I love prospecting and getting the conversation going with people. I love it. But then within marketing too, it's been really cool lately because just some of the stuff that I've been sharing, how that has really turned into prospecting. So just, those connections and stuff, I'm loving it.
That's awesome, Anna.
Yeah.
I wish I could talk to people offline more. It's very rare, but I just my personality type is I'm just so much better and more comfortable online. But I love that you do that.
Yeah.
I always get people that start talking to me, and I've never known why, but even years before I was a coach, I'm like, do I have a sign on my head that says I'm safe to talk to? And I love it. You know, I just don't understand why, but I welcome it. I'm like, sure, I would love to talk to you. And it's just funny that, you know, for whatever reason I attract people, they feel like I'm someone safe to talk to. So I'm grateful.
Awesome. And now you can use it to, you know, for this as well. So that's great. Hi, Karen.
I was talking to someone like Hannah said in the grocery line the other day. I just, sure, let's talk about it, because they see what I'm buying, and it kind of starts a conversation of, wow, you must really eat healthy, you know. Well, actually I do, and this is why. I never used to, but then I found this, you know.
Yeah.
I'd like to talk to you more about it. I don't have a lot of time right now, so let's exchange contact information.
I need to work on my approachability.
That's a Higdon technique.
Yeah,
I recognize that technique.
Nice.
Oh, you know, I can't really talk about it right now, but let me get your information and I'll.
Yep. And in the grocery line, you're not lying, because you want
That's
to hang out.
That's called a BIC. Remember a BIC, break in communication?
Yes. Yeah. Okay. Well, yeah, and you know, you guys are all right. I mean, prospecting and marketing both have to take place, but it's, you know, even though marketing is passive, that's where we get an opportunity to show up, add value, solve people's problems. But the really important, the thing that we know, but that we often don't always practice is, well, I can't, you know, I can only speak for myself, is the consistency, being consistent, because we gotta to develop that trust through marketing, and for people to be able to get to know us, we have to be consistent. We have to show up, even when we don't think anybody's paying any attention, because that's generally when people give up. Don't you agree?
Yes.
But how many of us have discovered that right just when we think nobody's paying attention, nobody's listening, nobody's watching, nobody's following us, because nobody's interacting, somebody reaches out right at that very moment.
And not only that, but even someone that you worked with before that you haven't heard from in a while, all of a sudden is back. And it's because, well, I've seen you doing this. I had someone get a Kickstart challenge pack last week, and I had no idea they were going to get it, and I was shocked. And I'm like, oh, and they're like, yeah, well, I've seen your pictures and I know. And you never know. You don't know who's watching, and that's kind of the good and the bad of social media, is you don't know who's watching. But there's always people paying attention, even if they're not ready to reach out to you yet. So keep putting it out there, because you're inspiring people.
Okay.
I made a video recently about a recovery, you know, the recovery drink that I like to do after my workouts, just talking about why I like it and how it tastes. I put it out there. Nobody interacted, not a like, not a comment. I thought nobody watched it. And then suddenly, I think the next day, I got a message from somebody that referenced that video in particular and wanted to know about the recovery formula.
Yep.
Yeah, you just never know. Yeah, that's great. That's awesome. So who else has takeaways from the first part of the Ray Higdon training?
The first part of what?
Of the Ray Higdon Health and Wellness Blueprint training.
Oh, I didn't get that.
I think this was originally a webinar that he did way back, and then he turned it into an official training on his.
Yep, that's what it was. He broke it up into 3 sections. That must have been a long webinar if he did all that in one day.
Yeah. Incredibly
It was over 2 hours, because I listened to it like in one. Well, it was funny. I listened to the first part, and then I decided I was going to listen to the webinar, not realizing it was the same thing. I'm like, wait a second, this sounds familiar.
Yeah.
A lot of trainers do that, I've noticed over the years. They'll they'll record everything they do, every live appearance, every lecture, every webinar. And probably I'd imagine they'd pick the ones that do really well, and they'd repackage it into something, you know, like something that they can charge for money or give away for free or whatever. And this is probably one of those deals.
Yeah.
And it's actually really smart to learn from that, because like I video my workout every day, and I'm obviously not posting my entire video, but I could take sections of it, and use that as posts every day, because sometimes I post, I broke through my weights and I got to use a heavier weight today, and then the next day I post, look, I fell on my butt and I'm still doing it. You know, like, it's all how you approach. You don't have to be perfect. You can fall on your butt and still get results, or yay, we're making progress. You know, you can repurpose your entire thing too.
Yeah. Yeah, that was the other
Anyone's paying me to watch me fall on my butt, but you know what I'm saying.
Yeah, and that's the other thing, you know, that made me think. That's the other thing that Ray Higdon says a lot. He's always amazed that people are short on ideas for content and ways to create value. Because, you know, like just, you know, using your example, Shelley, you know, you've got that all these workout videos, and all kinds of things happen during the course of those workout videos, between Lexi and falling on your butt and being able to use a heavier weight or whatever, you know, and that's just, if you break that down into little chunks, that's a source of like endless content. And anything that we do, you know, is the same, but we often are like struggling. Well, what do I talk about today? What do I post about today? What should I do a Facebook Live about? So why do you think, you know, Tom, why do you think we struggle with that kind of stuff?
Probably because it's new and we just haven't jarred our thinking yet. So when we attend something like this is why trainings are so important. We can go our whole lives without thinking of creative ideas if we don't learn from other people. And so we'll get, you know, direct ideas from somebody like Ray Higdon, and then we go out there and we try that stuff out, and along the way we'll pick up ideas of our own and get our own creative juices flowing in addition to what we learned from Ray. In the second session, man, he really gave a lot of great training on where to come up with ideas so that you'd never run out. So looking forward to talking about that too. And by the way, I remember a year or two ago, I did something called crack fitness. I got to revisit that. But basically, I go out on the sidewalk or a crack in the driveway, whatever, a straight line, and I'd find ways to use that crack as like a measurement for different exercises. And I did like 20 something of them for this workout. And so
you just see Amethyst. Are you looking at Amethyst's face?
Yes, I see that.
And she's like,
crack fitness. So, it's a funny name. It gets people to click on it. So the title is great, right? So what's that? Crack fitness. And it's just a line, you know, the crack in the sidewalk that everybody has in their neighborhood. And I use that as a tool for my workout. It was like 20 something different moves I did in it. And then, so I had the whole thing. And then I also had a version where I broke it up into 20 something different videos. So that's repurposing, I think.
So Tom on crack.
Yeah. There's so many ways to play with that. Maybe that's what I'll title it when I share it again. It's crack fitness. I'll call it
Tom on crack.
Yeah, that's a good one. Thanks, Karen. I appreciate the suggestion. I think I'll use it.
That's a catchy headline.
yeah.
I like it. I think I'm going to use it. That's good, Karen. It's really good.
Pray for Tom. He's on crack again.
Yeah.
And that goes towards, why not have fun? Add humor in it. I think Ray said something about it. Anytime you can make somebody laugh with a purpose behind it. Sometimes just laughing for a silly reason is great too, but then if you can also laugh with the purpose behind it, hey, that's pretty, and have fun with it. I think marketing is a lot of fun.
Yeah,
I'm more consistent with the marketing than I am the prospecting right now anyway.
Yep.
Yeah. So Lisa, it's nice to have you back from the, was it the, what is that? Is that
Middle East?
From the Middle East, right? I'm thinking Far East because my daughter's in Japan.
Yeah.
Seeing
her pictures, it's so exciting.
So did you get a chance?
I am back. I have to get on into it. I think this is wonderful. I've been listening to this and everything. I've got a little bit of a start on it, but I haven't gotten into it. I've started the book, and the book has this too, the marketing and the prospecting, because so much of my time recently, like the last year or so, has been into that attraction marketing. Putting good stuff out there of value and having people come to you.
Is that Ray Higdon's new book? That one?
Mm-hmm.
What you guys are talking about? Oh, okay.
Well, yeah, we're eventually we're doing started a book club, and we got that book, but we're going to talk about that down the line.
Oh, okay.
Yep.
But I agree with Shelley in that we need a good kick in the pants about prospecting. because sometimes they're just waiting for you to ask. And if you don't ask, they get all excited about it. Somebody else asks and they're gone.
Hey,
So you can reach out and do that.
did you watch the, listen to the National Wake Up Call? Not the one this week, but the one last week. The girl, she said that, you know, how they always talk about like your niche, you know, who do you want to attract? You know, and she said that when she's on her computer and she sees who's on, she sends them a message. She says, everybody is game.
Mm-hmm.
Everybody. She just messages everybody, you know, and I mean, she's, you know, and I don't know what her rank is, but I mean, she's up there making 6 figures. So
Once in a while, when I invite somebody, this doesn't happen often, but they'll say literally, "Hey, Tom, I've been meaning to ask you about that. I'm glad you checked in on me." I'm like, oh, cool. So it's true to go to that point. Some people are waiting for you to ask them. I don't know why some people don't take initiative, but it's just the way that it is.
People don't take initiative. It's very comfortable to be dreaming and not doing. And sometimes you need somebody to call you on it to say, okay, I'm ready to go from the dreaming to the doing.
Yeah.
Because we all wind up in our little comfy space and it's scary. Change is scary. Whether it's, you know, change that you want to happen or not, the action is scary.
Yeah.
So sometimes you need somebody to be like, come here, I got your hand, let's do this together. And then it's not as scary.
Yeah.
Amy Silverman said no at least 10 times before she did it. No, at least 10 times. And then when she finally signed up and she, you know, finally agreed to do Shakeology, then she said, you know, I got this. And then she kind of took the ball and just went with it. And
yeah, she did.
She did, yeah. She goes, I got this. But it took 10 times for the person to ask her 10 times.
Yeah.
I didn't say yes the first time either.
No, I told Tom
Neither did I.
no about 6 times at least.
Yep. Nope. I was like, la, 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 la. But then it was kind of like, hey, of course, I should say yes because this actually works.
Yeah.
So
Yeah.
So it's good you brought that up because sometimes when people say it's not the right time or not right now, I said, that's totally understandable. It took me 3.5 months to get on board. So when you're ready, I'll be ready for you.
Yep, exactly. And that's what I always say. I completely understand because I was the same way. And, you know, I'm not going to make you uncomfortable by pushing you. Just know I'm here and I'll let you know when my next thing's going on.
Right.
And
That's a good
if they're like, okay, then that kind of gives them giving you permission to invite them again the next month or your next week. Look, I know you weren't ready, but I didn't want you to miss out. You don't have to be pushy and mean. You can just be like, I'm still here. I'm happy to help. You ready yet? No? Okay,
Right.
I'll be here next month.
Right.
So,
and if there's anything that I can do to help you in the meantime, don't hesitate to ask me.
exactly. I always say that to them, like, ask me any questions that you have. I want you to be 100% comfortable in your decision because it's true. One thing I hate is feeling pushed into making a decision and being like, fine, I'll do it. Like, I hate that. So I don't ever want to do that to somebody.
Well, you know, what I did is Lisa Carbonara, you know, I knew her from church. She reached out to me and I said, let me think about it for a couple of days. And a couple of days came by and I honored my word. I said, gee, I got to make a decision, right? So I pulled out my angel cards. Should I? Yeah. So
awesome.
then it turned out that Lisa had the same angel cards. She goes, oh yeah, I did that too. And so, you know.
Yep, something you connected over. Lisa showed me her angel cards before she became a coach. I remember she was telling me all about them. We did like Michael the Archangel, or I was Mark. I don't remember how it went. That was a long time ago, but yeah.
So I need
Excellent.
the angel cards. That's what.
Oh, you know, but I mean, it took me only a couple days to think about it. And so, you know, they say you want to find people just like you. Well, I want to find somebody that only takes 2 days to think about it.
Yeah.
Goes for it. I want those kind of people. So,
Yeah.
Yeah. Don't we all?
Yeah.
I was going to say, yeah.
they also say, you know, like you attract what you are, right? So if I'm like one of those people, then by law of attraction, you'd think I would attract those kind of people. So,
Mhm.
you hear me, universe?
Well, I thought, we're kind of sort of talking about this week's National Wake Up Call, and with either knowing or not actually knowing it. But one of the cool things that Chelsea Pearson said was that, she said a couple things. She said, you don't want to overcome, you want to understand. So basically, you want to listen more than you talk. Ask a lot of great questions, especially when they have objections. But the thing that really struck me was, and it's really simple, really beautiful. Its simplicity. She said she doesn't mind objections because she sees them as opportunities or simply as unanswered questions. But she doesn't care about the no's because she's trying to find people that want to change, that want, everybody craves transformation, but where are find the people that truly want to change, no matter how old they are, no matter where they are in life, no matter how poor their health is, no matter how much weight they have to lose. They really want to change. I didn't want to change until I hit my rock bottom with my health. But other people have different triggers, different compelling whys, different things that push them over the edge to where they truly want to change. But the only way you can find those people obviously is by prospecting, and by marketing and trying to attract your tribe to you by being you, essentially. So I thought it was kind of interesting that we were just kind of talking about, everybody was kind of talking about their origin stories. Hannah, what's your origin story?
Girl, for real? We don't have enough time to go into it.
Well, I didn't ask you to enroll as a coach.
No, you did
No,
not.
I did not.
I contacted you.
Right.
Yeah, I totally reached out to you.
Right. And you were like, you were pretty much ready.
Yeah, I was, I had done my research and everything, and I was just tired of feeling so bad. I was tired of it. I knew that everything I had attempted to do in the past was not the answer.
Yep. And that essentially was my origin story. It took me 4 years. It took me 4 years, but that was my origin story. I was just sick of and tired of being sick and tired, and had actually contemplated that I might die, and I had to change. I had to do something. And it turned out I made the right choice.
Yep. And it's funny, my story starts because I had to change so that some things wouldn't change. Because I had lost weight in a very bad way. And then when I decided to quit smoking, I didn't want to gain weight. So I was afraid of that change. So I had to change my habits to keep from changing. Yeah, but I'm so glad that I started down this path. And 5 years later, just, and not to sound conceited or something, but when you kind of catch a reflection and you're like, hey, it feels good.
Yeah. Yeah.
Oh, we're down to 4 minutes.
Yes, we are. And or, to have people say, well, how old are you, Kelly? And I'll say 58. And they're like, I would have guessed 35.
Yeah, exactly.
It's kind of nice.
Absolutely.
My origin was because I was afraid I might be possibly homeless someday since I lost my job and had no income. I was also starting to get alarmed with my health because at 30, that seemed to be the age where things would sort of the pendulum would swing the other direction. That's when my body started breaking down. But so this, I use this to take care of both those problems. I love the idea of getting healthy and making money at the same time. I mean, those are two big things, man.
Absolutely.
Yeah, totally. So we got 3 minutes left, almost 3 minutes exactly. So which of us watched watch the National Wake Up Call?
I did.
Okay. So Shelley, what was your biggest takeaway?
Well, I like the whole way of looking at objections and how she said that just means that they're interested enough to know more. Like they want to learn more about it. And I liked how, let's see, the more that you feel the value and you share the value in the products, the less that you hear the money objection, because that's a big objection.
Right.
And the more that you're putting across how much it's worth, how much these, I tried to do that this past week since I heard the call yesterday, but like yesterday and today, like putting, yeah, there's this, it's cheaper, it's this, but it's not as good. And this is priceless. And for what it is, it's a steal, and trying to get that across to people, like it's awesome. It's priceless. Being healthy is priceless. It really is.
Yeah. Yes,
So.
it is. Hannah, what was your biggest takeaway or your biggest eye opener?
I loved her approach with being told no.
And tell us what that is.
Finding your tribe, honey. I love it.
What's her approach with being told no?
With her approach, I mean, it's just really prospecting more. And when you're being told no, you're not putting those people away. You're still going back and you're still going to be reaching out to them, Even if you're being told no, well, you're going to ask more questions and try to understand this person a little bit better.
Right. The whole don't overcome or convince, understand them by asking probing questions. Yeah, it was really great. But when she talked about the no money thing, she said one of the number one things she would do when somebody says they don't have money, she asked for permission to share her story with them. And she also said that she asked the question, is price the only thing getting in your way? And she said the one thing that was also priceless was when they would say something to her, instead of coming back with a comeback, she would ask them to tell her more. She would keep saying, tell me more, tell me more, tell me more. So it was
like a therapist does.
Yeah. Now it's gonna cut off here at any second. But thanks so much for everyone for being here. We're going to talk more about Ray Higdon next week, and we'll all be on the after party as soon as this ends. And remember, if you show up, you can join.